You're being selfish, Dad. After everything we've done for you. That's what my daughter said when I told her I couldn't loan them another $20,000. I'd already handed over $63,000 over the past 6 years. But apparently that still wasn't enough. I was standing in my garage when the call came. A Saturday afternoon in early September. The kind of day where the heat still bakes off the asphalt even though fall's supposed to be on its way. I'd been organizing my toolbox, something I did when I needed to think, when I needed my hands busy so my mind could settle. Linda's name lit up the screen. I wiped the grease off my fingers and answered. "Hey, sweetheart. Dad, we need to talk." Her voice was tight, clipped, not angry yet, but getting there. "Mike and I have been going over the numbers, and we're short on the down payment for the lake house. We need 20 grand by the end of the month." I set down the wrench I'd been holding. "Lake house? I thought you were looking at that place in town." "We were. But this opportunity came up. It's an investment, Dad. The property value is going to double in 5 years. Mike's already done the research." Mike, my son-in-law. The man who'd convinced Linda they needed a boat they couldn't afford, a timeshare in Florida they never used, and 3 different business ventures that all somehow required my money to get off the ground. None of them ever did. "Linda, honey, I don't think I can do that right now." Silence. Then sharper. "What do you mean you can't?" "I mean I've already helped you quite a bit over the years, and I need to think about my own future. The pension doesn't stretch like it used to. I've got medical expenses coming up." "Medical expenses? You're fine. You go golfing every week." I closed my eyes. "I have a procedure scheduled next month. Nothing serious, but it's not fully covered by insurance." "So you're choosing a procedure over your own daughter's future? Over your grandkids' future?" That stung. It was meant to. "This isn't about choosing, Linda. It's about being realistic." "You know what, Dad? I'm really disappointed. I thought family meant something to you." "It does." "No, clearly it doesn't. We'll figure it out ourselves, like we always do." She hung up. I stood there in the garage, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to dead air. The single bulb overhead seemed dimmer than it should have been. I wanted to call her back, to explain, to smooth it over like I'd done 100 times before. But something stopped me. Maybe the way she'd said, "like we always do," as if I'd never done anything for them, as if the money, the time, the years of support had evaporated the moment I said no. I went inside and made myself a sandwich I didn't eat. Then I pulled out the filing cabinet in my office, the one I hadn't opened in months, and started looking through old bank statements. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. $63,400. That's what I'd given them since Linda married Mike. Not loaned, given. Because every time I'd offer to draw up a repayment plan, Mike would laugh it off and say, "Come on, Frank, we're family, you know we're good for it." And Linda would smile and kiss my cheek and promise they'd pay me back once things settled down. Things never settled down. There was the 12 for the wedding, the 15 when Mike's contracting business went under and they were 3 months behind on the mortgage, the 8 for the medical bills when their youngest Ryan broke his arm and their insurance had lapsed, the 5 here, 3 there, car repairs, credit card debt, another business opportunity that turned out to be a multi-level marketing scheme. I'd kept records, not because I wanted to hold it over them, but because I was an engineer. I documented things. It was habit. I sat at my desk, staring at the numbers, and felt something crack open inside me. Not anger. Not yet. Just a slow, creeping realization that I'd been wrong about something fundamental. I thought supporting them meant being part of their lives. But the truth was, I was part of their budget. A line item. Emergency fund. Dad. The next call came 3 days later. Not from Linda, from Mike. "Hey, Frank, got a minute?" I was in the backyard pruning the rose bushes my wife had planted before she passed. The ones I kept alive because it felt like keeping a piece of her alive, too. "Sure, Mike. What's up?" Look, I know Linda called you about the lake house, and I get it, man. You've got your own stuff going on, but here's the thing. He paused. His tone got smoother, practiced. This property is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, serious equity, and I was thinking, if you came in as a co-investor, you'd get a return, 20% annually, guaranteed. Mike, I'm not interested in being a co-investor. You're not hearing me. This isn't charity, this is smart money. You'd actually be making money off us for once. For once. Like everything before had been charity. Like I was some kind of sucker. I appreciate the offer, but no. Another pause. Longer this time. You know, Linda's really hurt. She feels like you don't believe in us. This isn't about belief. Then what is it about? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're fine living in that big house all alone while your daughter's out here struggling to give your grandkids a better life. I felt the anger then, sharp and sudden. I've given you over $60,000 in the last 6 years, Mike. I think I've shown plenty of support. He laughed, actually laughed. 60,000 over 6 years? That's like 10 a year, Frank, that's nothing. My parents gave us twice that, just last year. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The arrogance, the sheer entitlement. It left me speechless. Look, Mike continued, we're not asking for a handout. We're asking for help. But if you can't see the difference, then maybe we need to reevaluate some things. What does that mean? It means Linda and I have been talking. We think it might be best if we take some space, for everyone's sake. Space? Yeah. Let things cool down. We'll reach out when we're ready. He hung up before I could respond. I stood there in the yard, clippers still in my hand, staring at the roses. They were blooming, bright red against the green. My wife used to say they were stubborn flowers. They'd grow even when you neglected them, even when the soil was bad. You just had to give them time. 2 weeks passed, no calls, no texts. I tried reaching out once, a simple message to Linda. Hope you and the kids are doing well. Love you. She read it. I could see the little check marks, but she didn't respond. I thought about showing up at their house, but something stopped me. Pride, maybe, or the creeping suspicion that I wasn't welcome anymore. On the 3rd week, I got a message from my grandson, Noah. He was 10, old enough to have his own phone for emergencies. The message was short. Grandpa, can you come to my soccer game Saturday? Mom said you're probably busy, but I wanted to ask. I stared at that message for a long time. Probably busy. As if I'd ever been too busy for those kids. I'd been to every game, every recital, every school play. I was the one who taught Noah how to ride a bike. I was the one who stayed up with Ryan when he had nightmares after his mom and dad fought. I replied, I'll be there, buddy. Wouldn't miss it. Saturday came. I showed up at the field early and found a spot on the bleachers. Noah's team was warming up when I saw Linda and Mike arrive. They saw me too. Linda's face went tight. Mike said something to her and she shook her head. They sat on the opposite side of the field. When the game started, Noah spotted me and waved. I waved back. He played well, scored a goal in the second half. I cheered louder than anyone. After the game, he ran over, sweaty and grinning. You came? Of course I did. Linda appeared behind him, her expression unreadable. Noah, go get your stuff. We're leaving. But Grandpa just got here. Now. Noah looked at me, confused. Then he trudged off. Linda didn't say a word to me. She just turned and walked away. Mike didn't even glance in my direction. I drove home in silence. When I got there, I sat in the driveway for 20 minutes, engine off, hands on the wheel. Then I went inside and called my attorney. His name was Richard Cole. We'd known each other for 30 years. He'd handled my wife's estate when she passed, and he'd been the one to draw up my will 5 years ago. Everything had been left to Linda. The house, the savings, the life insurance. It seemed right at the time. She was my only child. Who else would I leave it to? Frank, Richard said when he answered. Good to hear from you. What can I do for you? I need to make some changes to my will. A pause. What kind of changes? I want to set up a trust for my grandkids, direct access when they turn 25, but nothing for Linda or Mike. Another pause. Longer. Frank, that's a significant change. Are you sure? I'm sure. Can I ask what brought this on? I told him. Not everything, but enough. The money, the demands, the silence, the way I'd been shut out the moment I stopped being useful. Richard listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, I'll draw up the paperwork. But Frank, think about this. Family disputes can get complicated. I've thought about it. All right. Come by the office Monday. We'll go over everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the ways I might have done things differently. Maybe I should have said no earlier. Maybe I should have demanded repayment. Maybe I should have seen the pattern before it got this bad. But I hadn't. I'd been a father. And fathers help their kids. That's what we do. Except at some point, help had turned into enablement. And I'd been too blind, or too stubborn, to see it. Monday came. I met with Richard and signed the papers. The new will was clear. The house would be sold upon my death, the proceeds split into 2 trusts for Noah and Ryan. Linda and Mike would have no access. There was a clause that allowed the boys to access funds for education or medical emergencies before 25, but only with Richard's approval. What about your retirement accounts? Richard asked. The same, into the trusts. He nodded and made a note. And if Linda contests it, let her try. When I left the office, I felt lighter. Not happy exactly, but lighter. The message came that evening from Linda. Dad, we need to talk. Can you come over tomorrow? I almost said yes. Old habits. But instead I typed, I'm available to talk, but I'd prefer to meet somewhere neutral. How about the coffee shop on 5th? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. Fine. 2 p.m. I got there early, ordered a black coffee, and sat by the window. Linda arrived 10 minutes late. Mike was trailing behind her. I hadn't expected him. She sat across from me. Mike stood. Dad, this has gone on long enough, Linda said. We're family. We shouldn't be fighting like this. I agree. She blinked, surprised. Okay, good. So, about the lake house. No. Her expression hardened. No. I'm not giving you any more money, Linda. I can't. Can't or won't. Both. Mike leaned forward. Frank, you're making a mistake. You're going to regret this. I looked at him. Saw the entitlement etched into every line of his face. Really? The only thing I regret is not saying no sooner. Linda's eyes filled with tears. Real ones, I think. So that's it? You're just going to abandon us? I'm not abandoning you. I'm setting a boundary. Same thing, she said bitterly. No, it's not. Mike put his hand on her shoulder. Come on, Lind. We don't need him. They left. I sat there with my coffee, now cold, and watched them walk to their car. Linda looked back once. For a moment, I thought she might come back. But Mike said something, and she got in. I finished my coffee and went home. The weeks that followed were quiet. Too quiet. I filled the time with projects, fixed the deck, repainted the garage, organized 40 years of accumulated junk in the attic. I found old photos, letters, report cards, evidence of a life that felt very far away. I thought about reaching out, but I didn't. I'd said what I needed to say. The rest was up to them. Then one evening my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Hello? Grandpa? It was Noah. His voice was small, shaky. Noah? What's wrong? He paused. I heard a sniffle. I'm not supposed to call you, Mom said, but I just wanted to hear your voice. My chest tightened. It's okay, buddy. I'm glad you called. Are you all right? I miss you. Mom and Dad are fighting a lot. About money. About you. I don't really understand. But Mom keeps crying and Dad keeps yelling. And Ryan's scared. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry, Noah. Did we do something wrong? No, nobody. You didn't do anything wrong. Then why don't you come over anymore? I didn't know how to answer that. How do you explain adult failures to a 10-year-old? How do you tell him that sometimes love isn't enough to fix broken things? It's complicated, I said finally. But I want you to know something. I love you and Ryan more than anything in this world, and that's never going to change. Even if your mom's mad at me, even then. He was quiet for a moment, then. Okay, Noah, if you ever need me, you call. No matter what your mom says, understand? Okay. I mean it. I know. We talked for a few more minutes. About school, about soccer, about nothing important, and everything important. When we hung up, I sat in the dark living room and let myself cry for the first time in months. 2 days later, I got a text from Linda. I know Noah called you. Don't contact my kids again. I didn't respond. A week after that, I got a letter, certified mail, return address from a law firm I didn't recognize. Inside was a cease and desist order. Linda and Mike were accusing me of harassment, claiming I'd been showing up uninvited, making threats, attempting to alienate the children. None of it was true, but it didn't matter. The message was clear. Stay away. I called Richard. He read the letter and sighed. This is intimidation, Frank. They're trying to scare you. It's working. Do you want to respond? What would I say? That you've done nothing wrong. That they're the ones who've cut contact. That you have a right to see your grandchildren. I thought about it. Thought about lawyers, court dates, depositions. Thought about Noah and Ryan, caught in the middle of it all. No, I said. I'm not doing that to those boys. If they want me gone, I'm gone. Richard was quiet. Then, all right. But the will stays as is. The will stays as is. I didn't hear from them again. Months passed. Fall turned to winter. I spent Thanksgiving alone, Christmas alone. I told myself it was fine. I was used to being alone. But the truth was, it hurt every damn day. In January, I got a call from Richard. Frank, I wanted to give you a heads up. Linda's attorney contacted me. They're asking about your estate. What about it? They want to know if there have been any changes. What did you tell them? That I can't discuss a client's private affairs. But Frank, they're digging. I think they suspect something. Let them dig. Spring came. I started volunteering at the community center, teaching kids basic carpentry. It gave me something to do. A reason to get out of the house. The kids were good. Reminded me of Noah and Ryan. I tried not to think about that too much. One afternoon in May, I was in the workshop showing a group of 12-year-olds how to sand properly. When I saw him, Noah, standing in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder, I set down the sandpaper. Noah. He stepped inside and looked around. Mom doesn't know I'm here. I glanced at the other instructor who nodded and took over the lesson. I walked Noah outside to the benches by the parking lot. How did you find me? I Googled you, saw the community center thing on Facebook. Smart kid. Does your mom know where you are? She thinks I'm at a friend's house. I should have called her right then. Should have told him he needed to go home. But I didn't. I just sat down next to him and waited. I'm sorry about all this, he said finally. The stuff with Mom and Dad. It's not your fault. It feels like it is. Like, if I was better, or if Ryan didn't cost so much money, maybe things would be different. My heart broke. Noah, listen to me. None of this is about you or Ryan. You understand? None of it. He nodded. But I don't think he believed me. We sat there for a while. Not talking, just being. Eventually I said, You should probably get home before your mom worries. Yeah. He stood, hesitated. Grandpa? Yeah, buddy. I still love you. I couldn't speak. I just nodded. He left. I sat on that bench until the sun went down. That night I got a call from Linda. She was screaming. How dare you? How dare you go behind my back and contact my son? I didn't contact him, he came to me. Liar, you've been manipulating him, turning him against us. Linda, I've done nothing. Stay away from my family, do you hear me? Stay away. She hung up. I sat in the silence, phone still in my hand, and realized something. I'd lost her. Not recently. Not because of the money or the boundaries or the fights. I'd lost her years ago. I'd just been too stubborn to see it. But I hadn't lost Noah. Not yet. I pulled out my phone and sent him a text. I'm proud of you. Always will be. He responded an hour later, just 2 words. Love you. It wasn't enough, but it was something. If this story resonates with you, I want you to know this. Setting boundaries doesn't make you a bad parent. It makes you human. And sometimes the people you love most won't understand. But that doesn't mean you were wrong. Leave a comment if you've ever had to make that choice. And remember, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved.